How to repair show will start soon. Say your questions. Grab a drink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
Good afternoon all, and we've moved to another county. We're in County Clare. We've moved over from Kerry, and we took the ferry today across to where Tom is in Kilrush, and it's a lovely location. It's a very nice. Can you share the screen, Burkeye, just so I can show them? So this route here basically was only an hour long, and if I move the map over, if I had to drive round, although it cost me 35 euros on the ferry, I was saving about 120 kilometers, and with the price of gas today, it was not a bad idea. I didn't want to go up to Limerick. I've got to go through a city shortly up the top, which will be a couple of, when I start traveling again, I'm most probably going to stay here for a couple of days with Tom, maybe do a service call or two with him, and also look at some of the memorabilia that he has. Now, one of the things that we're thinking of doing is in Monmouthshire or somewhere around my area, I am snooping into trying to set up a museum for historic British appliances that were made from the, well, really from the 40s onwards. I've already acquired a few machines, and this is something I am really looking into, getting a building that we can actually do something with. Anyway, I'm going to flick over screens to show you the marina I'm in. It's Kilrush Marina. They charge 30 euros a day, which isn't really on the cheaper end of the scale. It's the norm, shall we say. They have all the facilities here, including a laundry with normal domestic appliances. I went in there today. They have a Beko, a Hotpoint, and I believe it's a Bosch dryer. How long they last the test of time will be very interesting. I won't actually be using the laundry. I have to go up somewhere and use the larger machines because I've got bed linen that needs doing and everything else. So I'm going to be better off using one of the 18-kilo machines. I also got asked today because someone was having a chat to me, and I had to give them some of my coffee because they'd run out of percolated coffee. So I gave them some of my Portuguese coffee. But I also got asked by them, they said, how are you planning your routes and everything? And I thought, well, this is a good discussion to have because a lot of people, I don't think, are using AI to its full benefits. We've all got free accounts, and I've got a paid account, which I pay. But I wanted to show you this. Now, I was planning on the route up to Galway, and I wanted to get an understanding of places to visit and everything else. Now, I don't know if the audio is going to play, but basically what I did, because I have a persona set up on my account. Now, what people don't realize, a persona is where you actually create an interview with ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever, and you save it to your personal settings. Now, Gemini, which I use, which is the Google one, and I use this for the main reason it's able to look at my videos, it's able to understand all my email, my Google Drive folders and everything that I put things in, so I can ask it to look at stuff. So I'm doing this trip up to Galway from Kilrush, and I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything out on the Wild Atlantic route. So basically what I said, okay, I've reached the town and I'm staying here for a couple of days, Kilrush. I will then I will travel the Wild Atlantic route towards the cliffs of Moher and continue up to the coast, to Galway, knowing everything that it understands about myself, my driving capabilities, the length of the vehicle, the height of the vehicle. I'm able to ask it to create me a map and some nice places to visit. And it actually brought up some very nice alternatives, telling me that Moher Cliffs are very touristic. Although they've got good parking, it's a very, very busy stop. But knowing that I'm a reasonable driver, it's told me to go up to the other cliffs at Kilkee Cliffs. And so I'm going to be taking a trip up there, but I am going to go and visit Moher. It also told me to go to a fortification, Dungarry Castle, which I didn't know was along the route, which I'll be visiting. And it gave me all the information I needed. And this not only makes life easier for myself, but it also gives me a detailed map. And if I click on this, it will open up a Google map, and then I'm able to send it to my mobile phone, which is a real useful thing, really, at the end of the day. Technology really does makes life easier sometimes. Although it's not always being used for the right purposes, it does make life a lot more interesting. Making sure that you find all the things that I'm interested in, washing machines, appliance shops. I could ask it to pinpoint any appliance shops along the way if I wanted to. I can also use it to find extra information. And it also warns me about the road conditions, the weather as well, because if I told it a specific time, then it would look at weather conditions and also any road problems or anything else. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up on the screen just to show you. We have a few people left comments. Mr. Watcher Dude, good afternoon. We're starting to attract regular people on a regular basis. Idris, hello to you. Deep Rinse Enthusiast, 2002, good afternoon to you as well. I'm actually staying put now for a couple of days because, as I said earlier, Tom has got a lot of antique appliances in his lockup. He's also a motorbike enthusiast, and he's already got my ears pricked up with regards a certain motorbike he's got, which is back from my era, but you'll see all about that in the other videos. We've started to catch up now. Burkeye is fed up of hearing my voice because he's having to edit all the videos that I made on Mizzen Head and the drive up here with the 360 cameras. And there should be a video going public within the next 2 days on Mizzen Head. This video is mainly about the radio communications tower and also the lighthouse, because I'm into that type of stuff. So I took a long time viewing the museum they have there, and we've done a very good video on that. And when you're watching it, you want to make sure you listen to it closely, because some parts of it are me and other parts of it are AI version of me, because as you all know, I'm dyslexic and I'm absolutely lousy at reading scripts. I don't use an autocue. I can rabbit on for hours on end talking about the things I like, but if I've got to read a script, I find it personally very difficult, and that's because of dyslexia. We've also got Deep Rinse Enthusiast. Do you know in the 2000s, from 2000 to 2001 till 2008, 2007, Indesit Ariston machines actually had sealed tubs? Yes, I do. And 1 second. You see my dyslexia again. Actually has sealed tubs, and they had replaceable. You're saying it's got sealed tubs but had replaceable bearings. Some machines had sealed drums. Believed it or not, the Hotpoint 95 series was a plastic drum that they used in the late 80s, early 90s, but that drum was splittable. It's only Zanussi Electrolux AEG also had a splittable drum, but they decided to weld it up. And the astonishing thing about Zanussi AEG and Electrolux, they didn't care, because they even left the actual bolt holes for the actual screws to go in, but yet they just decided to weld it. And they did that deliberately, knowing that they were removing access to the actual drum. There were some Indosets and Ariston machines that also had a spider externally, I believe, but I think that was the predecessor to these machines that you're on about, that had an external cross member where the bearings were housed. And I can't remember which models off the top of my head that was. But, Ariston, Indoset, even Indoset, an Italian company, if we go back to the 80s and 90s, Indoset made very good machines, although they were a lot harder to disassemble than the Hotpoint machines. And that was because they used to have a huge Jubilee clip type clamp holding the back half of the drum, where the bearings and spiders was held, connected to the outer steel drum. And they were a tricky job to replace the bearings in, because trying to prise those two halves together after they've been in situ for 7-8 years did make it difficult. I really did like the Hotpoint 95 plastic drums. I could actually turn around and replace a set of bearings in those machines in approximately, if it was on my workbench. And let me explain this. I had a warehouse in the late 80s, which was really a production line for reconditioning. I had 10 bays for different machines to go on, and I would have some machines on test, some machines with the drum out. I might have been waiting for certain components or whatever. And then I had other machines which I was going through the diagnostic stage with, trying to find what the faults were with the machines. And, in those days, the Hotpoint 18 series, the Hotpoint 95 series, some of the Philips machines, the Hoover machines, were all reconditionable, and manufacturers made things of quality. But what's happened over the last 20 years is they've realized that they built, in their eyes, the equipment was too good, and they didn't want machines lasting that long. And so they started deliberately building obsolescence in. And really, the obsolescence, in my opinion, from all manufacturers started in the late 90s. And the decline of the industry was every 5 to 10 years, the machine would start to last less period of time, as if they were trying to allow the general public to get used to machines not lasting 20 years anymore. They only started lasting 15 years, then 10 years, and we're in this horrid place we are now, where some manufacturers are not even lasting 2 years. I mean, I have had multiple people contacting us, sending us emails in, and you can read these comments on the obsolescence videos about Hotpoint, about Hoover, and other videos that I've done about the sealed drums, which have had 1 million views and several thousand comments. This isn't just my opinion. You can actually read the comments on there to get an experience of what the general public is experiencing. Manufacturers don't care anymore, because one manufacturer may own multiple of 10 to 20 brands. They may own 3 or 4 brands in the UK, but then they have the other brand names they use all across Europe. And this isn't just happening to UK people. This is happening every country. For example, Zanussi, AG, and Electrolux, not so much Electrolux, but Zanussi and AG are the brands that are known in the UK because they control a certain amount of the marketplace. But when it comes to Spain, Portugal, Greece, and all these other countries, they name it something different. And that's usually because we have words that don't translate very well in these countries, so they have a different name, or the country has had a brand that had a good reputation and they decided to change things. Anyway, we have lots of questions popping in. Hello, I'm from KSA and I like England, Lincolnshire. Well, I haven't actually spent a lot of time in Lincolnshire. I have driven around the whole country, but it's not a place I've spent a lot of time. And that's from Sally Hal Harby. Oh, I'm hopeless at pronouncing names. Why couldn't everyone keep things simple? Mr. Washer Dude, Antique Appliances. I would love to see them. Burkai, have you got the link by any chance in your archive of links to that website that gave us permission to use some of the images for certain videos? Because there is so much history on this website. Truthfully, I'm enjoying scrolling through some of the pages and people that have restored to mint condition things like a Hoover A3 series, twin tubs, top loaders. There are a lot of people out there that do care. And it's just amazing to see some of the pictures. Have you got that website to hand, Burkai?
Yep, I will paste in the comment, mate.
Okay. Right, so you've caught up on what I'm doing. I'm going to be spending a couple of days here. Have we got any questions that came in yesterday that was worth reading, or previous comments?
We have 4 questions from emails. If you want, we can go to them.
Right, okay. I'll just deal with Idris. In Romania, Electrolux and AG are the main brands. So, Idris, would you say that Zanussi, for example, is not present really in your country in the retail shops? It's only AG and Electrolux? I'd be interested to know that, because Zanussi they spent a lot of money on advertising Zanussi, although it's being faded out slightly in the UK now. There's preference going to AEG than any other brand. Excuse me. Do you want to pop one of the questions up while we're waiting for Idris? Excuse me looking sideways and off this camera. That's because I've got 2 screens working today because I'm staying in this location for a few days. So it allows me to be able to edit and do things for you, which I wouldn't normally be able to do.
You want me to play it?
Okay, I can read that today, mate. Let me explain. We've been playing about with Ecamm to understand the capabilities of why I couldn't read the screen over the last few days. Now, Burkai is in a street in Izmir that doesn't have fiber internet. He's got a speed of, what would you say is your speed on your normal landline?
The average is 20-25.
Right. So because he's got 2025, I haven't been able to read the screen share that he's showing me on the screen at the moment of what's going out on the live show. So I haven't been able to read the questions that well. And this is why Burkai on some occasions does audio files. But I'm still going to use the audio files for the simple reason, knowing that my failing in life is dyslexia and I don't read things very well. Have you got audio files for this from Susan?
Yes, I have.
just play it because it's much easier for me to listen than read small print that I can see on the screen, although it is crystal clear today, I must say.
Appliance, Hoover NSWE 965C washing machine. Hi Paul. I put one bobbly bath mat on a 30-minute wash, but the machine did not drain the water during its spin. I then used the spin and drain cycle, but that didn't drain either, so the bath mat was still soaking wet. In desperation, I used the rinse and spin cycle, which lasts for 55 minutes. It has just finished, and my bath mat is still absolutely soaking wet. I just wrung it out by hand as much as I could, so I'll have to set my washing line up. Is this happening because I only put one item in the machine, or is it because I have a fault? Keep in mind that when the bath mat is wet, it is a very heavy item. Can you offer any advice?
Okay, it's pretty logical, this one, and this has happened to me when I've been washing those long-haired bath mats and also the mats that go round the base of the toilet area. Sometimes some people have those curved mats that go all the way round. I had a mat which disintegrated some of the particles, and they went down, not only wrapping themselves around the heater, which is basically at the bottom of the machine, and they got wrapped around there, restricting the flow of water going to the pump. Also, some of the fabric got lodged in the sump hose, which is the hose that attaches to the bottom of the drum that runs through to the pump. Now, if things like that get into this area, you really got to dismantle everything, for the simple reason being is you may have some of this fabric in the sump hose. It could also be wrapped around the impeller and in the filter, and also could have gone through the pump system, and some of it might even be lodged in the waste pipe. And especially if it's going to a sink unit, it can clog up the bayonet fitting. So the reason I'm saying you want to strip all of this down, because you have got a blockage in the machine somewhere, is you may just clear the fault with the pump by taking the filter out and cleaning the impeller. But the problem being is you may even have more fibers stuck around the heater and in the sump hose, which then would pass through to the pump. And you may have to do the job again in a couple of washes because something else clogs up the machine. When washing something like that, it's a very difficult item to wash, knowing that some of the fibers may disintegrate under the washing because they might not be washer proof, meaning they weren't designed to be put into a washing machine. Small items of clothing and delicate items like that, it might be worth putting inside an old pillowcase and then putting it into the machine. But as you really cleverly point out, they are very, very heavy items when wet. And you do not want to exceed the capacity of the machine because you could do damage to the machine. And when you consider you might only be washing these once or twice every couple of months, it might be worth taking it to a commercial machine, because if you put a heavy item that absorbs water like this, a bath mat, into a machine, not only would you have an imbalanced load possibly, you will also have the chance of the mat disintegrating and causing the problem that you've got. So I am seriously suspecting that you have got a blockage in the system. You might spot it straight away, but it's still worth, if you've got the front of the machine off and you're cleaning out the pump and everything else, it is worth doing the other two things I mentioned. And the reason for this is you're not going to have the fault reoccurring on you in the next week or so because some other fibers have come through to the machine. So I hope that helps you. Okay. Did Idris reply? Yes, we don't have. It's gone a bit blurry now. Yes, we don't have washers from Zanussi, but we still have gas cookers from them. Right. Okay, so the washing machines and tumble dryers are predominantly AEG and Electrolux in your country, and I suspect that the manufacturer there has some other brands that they use, which are manufactured by Electrolux but aren't known in the UK. Because this show goes out all over the world. The guy from the Philippines the other day was saying makes that I hadn't even heard of. So every country is slightly different with some of the manufacturers and their brand names. Have we got any more comments coming up so we can keep up to date with them before we move on to the other questions? Mr. Washer Dude, I have an Electra 1000. That's an old one. That is an old one. Electra, I would suspect that this machine is nearly 20 years old, maybe even older. 17059E, which I bought off someone for £30. I love the splittable outer tub, so easy to replace. Well, the Electras, if I am remembering correctly, were very, very similar to the Hotpoints. And if not, they were made by Hotpoint for Electra, the brand at the time. Because I think Electra was a brand for some retail outlet in the UK, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't think Electra ever manufactured themselves. I think it was a brand name for one of the big superstores. Next one. Galdar, good afternoon to you. Buggles is a good pub in Kilrush. Okay. I am actually going to take it easy. I did have a couple too many, shall I say, and I'm going to try and pronounce this correctly because so many people I'm bumping into who have watched the stream has actually said my pronunciation of half of these places is incorrect. Puddy O'Shea. Let's see if I get criticism on that. That was the pub outside of Dingle, and it was a fantastic place to stay. Not only was the food good, the hospitality was brilliant. The locals, even bought a couple of beers, which they shouldn't have, because it was the end of the night and I wasn't able to buy them a beer back. But I did appreciate the hospitality. The history in that pub was incredible. Dolly Parton was on the wall. Chris de Burgh was on the wall. Oh God, who was the other guy that I mentioned the other day? Burke. Tom Cruise. Sorry, I remembered it. There was hundreds of people, and he was a famous Irish football player. And I don't know if you call it Irish football. I'll call it Irish football. But he's a well-known character throughout Ireland, and it's a cracking pub and a great place to stay if you ever go to Dingle, because it's going to be a lot cheaper for you to stay there, use the public transport that only costs £1.50 to get down to Dingle, and if you stay late, then of course you can get a taxi back. And they were telling me, the landlord said that the taxis are approximately €20. And when you consider just the camper parking in the centre of Dingle, one, you're not going to have anywhere near as good a night's sleep as I had, because it was a lovely, peaceful car park that was deserted all night, no traffic at all. You are going to be staying in the town centre, and I imagine you've got a lot more noise and a lot more traffic there. Anyway, I really did enjoy my stay there. What others have come up? Does the Hoover and Candy Company design the paddles to fall off their washing machines? There's lots of washers. Yeah, well, look, this is a common known problem. Now, one of the big problems of sealed drums is sometimes the steel tabs that lock these paddles in place can get damaged. And if they get damaged, then you can't fit new paddles. Now, a lot of engineers will tell you there's many techniques, and I need to do a video on this one day. if the metal tab that holds the paddle in place, that has to be bent up when you slide the paddle in, so it locks the paddle in place, breaks, you have no way of holding that panel in place. You could use a very, very adhesive, possible silicone or something to hold it in place and give it 24 hours to set. But what I normally do, especially if the drum is splittable, is I will go on the underside of the drum, put the paddle in place, mark up the position that I can put a small stainless screw, drill a small hole through the drum, and then fix a screw into the paddle, and therefore fixing a new paddle. This was a way of prolonging the life of the machine. But of course, manufacturers are going out of their way to remove the right to repair with all machines today. And, this is why I'm trying to encourage everyone now to, when you go shopping to the superstores to buy a new machine, make sure you boycott all the companies that are only giving you a 12-month guarantee. Politicians aren't listening. They're a waste of time. Yeah, they, 10 million views on videos just from my channel on obsolescence. Not one politician has ever approached it. In other countries, they're doing very little. Although Europe's right to repair legislation has now been changed and is being implemented this year. And if you've only ever just come to the show, you will see that on last Friday's show, where I read the translation for the new right to repair laws that are coming in Europe, and it's a big change. But these laws do not apply to the UK. And the UK is one of the only countries out there which is getting away with sticking only a 12-month warranty on, let's say, a Hotpoint machine. But that same machine in Europe comes with a compulsory 2-year guarantee, because the EU regulations states that no electrical appliance can be sold without a minimum of a 2-year guarantee. So the English are being basically buggered. I'll keep it diplomatic. And, we need to change things in the UK more than most countries, because the manufacturers are walking all over the general public. Okay, what other questions have we got there? Oh, I didn't read. A few months ago, I had a Kenwood washer with is that Beyond? Burkai, It's gone a bit blurry now. Beyond bad bearings. I bought it for 20 quid and decided to rip the bearings and then
sell it.
And then sell it. Replace the bearings. All right, okay, he's shorter for characters. I do realise on YouTube you only get so many characters to put your question in. Sure do like keeping the machines in service. I take my hat off to you, mate. I don't know, actually, Kenwood don't build washing machines, I do not think. I think Kenwood are basically turning around to some manufacturer and they would be saying, look, we want 10,000 washing machines with the Kenwood badge on it. And that might be to keep their brand present in the marketplace. I mean, Kenwood has always been known really for food processors and equipment like that. Kenwood, I don't believe, ever manufactured any washing machines, but I might be wrong. But it did have a good reputation for their food mixers from 70s, 80s, that sort of period. I remember my mother having a porcelain bowl Kenwood food processor, which had a blender on the top. And I used to use the blender on a regular basis for doing fruit cocktails and stuff like that. And of course, I was chucking alcohol into it. I was no saint, but it was absolutely brilliant for creating things like punches and other bits and pieces, or slush puppy type food. Okay, so that one's dealt with.
All right, because of the character limit, we have 7 different comments right now. I'm gonna display them one by one. All right.
Okay. Deep, is that Deep Rinse Enthusiast?
Yep, correct.
Stainless steel outer tub, Indeset and Aristons in 2000 had sealed tubs and replaceable bare. Yeah, I think they're the ones with the big band on the back. Well, sealed tubs, yeah, they are rare. X-frame bearings, yeah, that's the same as a lot of the Miele's used, and also the high-end Bosch machines used, Siemens as well. I think Electrolux did some as well at some point. Yeah, well, the only way to actually access those drums was to take off the sumpos, and also, but I was sure they had a band that it was like a V belt, a steel V belt band that went around the drum to hold the two halves together. I thought they were splittable, but I might be wrong. This might be another machine. I'd see if Deep Rinse. I'd be interested in the model number on one of those machines just to have a look at the schematics on it, if there is any, because from 2000 it was we were going into digital format, meaning computers, because a lot of the I remember when I was working on a lot of British makes, I used to have slide film that I'd have to put into a projector, which would show the parts on the actual screen. They hadn't gone into full digital format where it was on a computer in those days. But I would be interested in the model of machine. Mr. Washer Dude. Yep, my Electra had a Hotpoint in a drum. Yes, they had the same mechanical timer. Yeah, I knew they were actually built by Hotpoint. Some of the Creeder machines also, when Creeder stopped manufacturing, were kept going by the Hotpoint 95 machine, but badged as a Creeder. Yeah, Ken. I thought it would have been Kenwood was Midia. I really hate the Midia stuff when it comes to their wiring. Sometimes I've had a look at the Cookology mini dishwashers and tumble dryers, which were made by Midia, and I really was astounded how the electrics inside the machine, instead of having a connection block with multiple spade connectors, they had just the wires twisted together with a plastic insert. And I was amazed that it went through CE inspection to allow them to be sold in the UK. Take a note of that model number for me. WIE 1375. Just take a note of that for after the show so I can see if I can find any schematics to bring up on tomorrow's show. Oh, and those as well. AWD 12. Now that's an old girl. The others I would have to look up. But yeah, the AWD 12. God almighty, when was that from? I'll have to look it up after the show because I can't go doing two things at once. But yeah, I would say they were 90s, those models. Might even be earlier than that. But thanks for chucking that in. I'm really grateful.
All right. Do you want to go back to questions?
Yes, please. Now you're going to have to read that one to me because we've gone back to blurred technology.
Appliance, Beko WTL 94151W. Washing machine. I bought this washer a few days ago, believing it only needed a new pressure switch. I replaced the switch. The washer filled, but after a few minutes, it showed ERR, emptied, and switched off. It is showing an E13 error code. Upon checking the connections, I noticed a female connector was loose on the front panel circuit board KN8. Upon closer inspection, I found that a connector pin is missing and the circuit board is damaged. I would think a new board would fix the fault. Please advise.
Well, I would assume if you've got a bad connection, meaning it's broken, yes, a new board should rectify the problem. But I'm going to try and save you some money. The first thing I would be looking for is the same machine with the same model number, and I think the last letter or two letters, I can't read the model number. Is there one letter or two letters after the number?
Just one W.
Okay. W. W stands for white. So you can eliminate that because they may have produced either a silver machine with the same model or a black machine with the same model. Beko only made really 3 colors of machine. Hotpoint, for example, had an A, which was for almond color, but that was many moons ago. So just using the front part of that model number, it is well worth looking on eBay and also Facebook Marketplace and our own website, because we've got thousands of parts, new and secondhand, on the website, to see if you can find any circuit board that's come out of a good machine that someone is selling, but because you've used your full model number, it should be programmed exactly the same for your machine. So rather than spending £140, £150 for a new program, you might be able to acquire a second-hand one for £30, £40, and then that's definitely worth the punt, as they say, to take the gamble on buying and rectifying your problem. You may also find that someone is selling a perfectly good machine because they no longer want it for as little as £50, £60. You're not only going to end up with the program for your machine, you're going to end up with a complete, well, as a matter of fact, you could just swap the machines over if you wanted, but you'll also have all the spare parts for the future. And this is really going to prolong the life of your machine for many years. And also sometimes people are actually putting complete machines on Facebook, eBay, Gumtree, and all sorts of different shopping channels, secondhand stuff around the world, because this model of machine, I can guarantee you, was sold maybe 10,000 plus times in the UK if it's from the UK, because that would be the minimum production run a manufacturer would do. So you will find, and you might have to wait a week or so for one to actually come up on the marketplace, but they are coming up all the time on the likes of Facebook, eBay, Gumtree, and so on. So it's worth shopping around before you go out there and pay £140, £150 for a brand new PCB, because that's a little expensive on a repair, and you've got no guarantee that you replace the circuit board and you've still got a problem, or the machine works perfectly and maybe 6 months down the line the motor fails or the drum bearing fails and you forked out all that money for a short period of time. So I hope that points you in the right direction. And sometimes it is literally, if you've got an old machine like this and you want to keep it going, even if you go out and buy a new machine, if you've got a garage or storage, just go to eBay, and Facebook does it as well. If you have an account with those sites, you have a little button after you've done the search, and it's called Save Search. And because you've done a specific search on eBay or Facebook, you are then able to save that search. And what actually happens is eBay or Facebook would email you when something becomes available. And it's a very good feature. So this way you could park a machine up, leave it maybe 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks, not having to go on to eBay and Facebook every day to look, and it will automatically email you if any results come. So you may want to do 2 or 3 different types of searches, one for the actual part number, one for your model number and complete machine, and another one for, say, your model number and the word PCB or printed circuit board. And this way, if anyone lists things outside of your parameter of what you searched for, you are going to get notified. And of course, you can cancel those searches once you've acquired one, so you don't get spammed with tons of emails. I hope that helps you. What do you think of Beko acoustic washing machine? Yeah, look, I like Beko because they're one of the few companies that if a customer contacts me and says, I've got a problem, like we had earlier, I'm able to get things like circuit diagrams. I'm able to get workshop manuals, washing sequence programs. And this all assists with being able to repair things. So in other words, although Beko makes sealed drums, and I'll be the first to praise Beko when they stop doing this, because legislation is going to force them to stop doing this shortly. They will not be able to seal drums because the new European Right to Repair Act is saying that they have to make machines repairable for a period of time, and you're able to take them to court if they don't, or at least report them to the European Commission. This will come into play long term. We are, channels like myself, as I said the other day, the Ukrainian guy who's a brilliant channel, many other European channels that teach in their languages how to repair appliances, and even Ben's Appliances in America. Our content is slowly making a difference because manufacturers do not want bad press at the end of the day. And they certainly don't want the likes of me telling everyone to boycott all companies with only supplying a 12-month, or who is supplying a 12-month guarantee. So these channels are making a difference to the legislation all over the world. And slowly we can make the place better. Next one. You'll have to read that one, mate. It's gone very blurry.
WMA series were the last ever final 100% Hotpoint machines, even though they were a complete change from the traditional pre-2000 Hotpoint design.
Well, the Hotpoint 95 series pre-2000 had the motor on the top, and the WMA series is where they moved the motor to the bottom of the machine. They were a totally different design of brush motor. They started to become a lot more complicated because they did do variations on spin speed. I think they went up to 1400 spin speed, the WMA. Don't quote me on that. But they were good machines. Yeah. And, I've always liked the Hotpoint machines. They've, back in the day when Hotpoint used to produce the 95W, even the WMA series was not a bad machine when you think of the accessibility that they gave you. The front panel still came off, the lid came off, good accessibility to the whole drum. The only difference was that's when they started introducing, at that point, I would say about 2007, 2008, they started introducing the sealed drum. And this is where it all went downhill. Thanks very much for giving us that info. Much appreciated, Deep Rinse. Chetona, am I reading that correctly? Or why do most modern washing machines have, can't read that word, Burkeye, it's blurred again, I'm sorry.
Why do
Excessively long programs. with only 1 or 2 shorter cycles that are
Made for
made.
small capacities.
Why do most modern washing? Look, a lot of washing machines today have multitude gizmo programs added to them to make them stand out better than their competitors. Really speaking, not many people really wash and only put a couple of sets of pants and a couple of sets of socks into a washing machine. Most people with a 7 to 9 kilo machine will always forage around the house to create a full wash load. Some people are particular. They won't wash certain things together and everything else. Also, energy saving, water saving is another thing that they greenwash these machines to make them sound better, because they are able to say, we've got a program that only uses X amount of electricity and X amount of water, and may achieve better grades within the energy efficiency ratings. But as I said over the last couple of videos, I am picking up a 1970s machine, which is Hotpoint 18 series, and I'm going to be putting it side by side with these modern washing machines today to prove once and for all how much you are saving over the course of a lifespan of the machine. I've already had delivered at my workshop in South Wales digital water meters, which basically I'm able to bring up on the display, and I will show you exactly how much water it is using on a fill cycle, how much water it's using on a rinse cycle, and also the total amount of water over a wash cycle. And we will be comparing this to a 1970s machine, which will have the same connections and the same meter attached. And these meters are calibrated, so it's going to be accurate. I've also got electrical meters, which I showed you the other day, and I think anyone, as there are a lot of people, and I can't find it today, it's fallen out somewhere, as a lot of people seem to come on this channel who fix machines on a regular basis. I have these portable energy meters that will show me what's happening in the machine at any point of time. So it basically shows me the wattage when the water valves are active. It may be drawing 8 to 10 watts of electricity while it's filling with water. When the drum turns, it will be drawing a variable amount of electricity depending on what load of clothing is in the machine, showing the wattage that the motor's pulling, which could be up to between 200, say, and 400 watts. But more importantly is when things like the heater comes on, you would instantaneously see 2000 watts being drawn, because the motor may be turning using 200 watts and an 1800 watt heater will come on heating the water. So you're not only able to monitor these machines, you're also able to use these meters to diagnose problems with these machines, because understanding what's happening with modern electrics is a very important way of diagnosing machines. And especially things like dishwashers, tumble dryers, they are a godsend. Even when I've been testing heat pump tumble dryers, because I have the wattage meter, I can see that the drum is turning and pulling 80 to 150 watts, but then I can see that the compressor is actually drawing power. And over the hour-long cycle, I would see for the first 20 minutes when a compressor comes on, it pulls slightly more load than when the gases starts flowing at the correct rate through the circuit, and then the wattage will come down slightly and maintain at maybe, let's say, 400 watts. The heat pump tumble dryers are very efficient at using electricity, and I'm going to remind me to say something about this. What do you call it? I have to bring it up on the computer. But anyway, with these meters, you are able to see exactly what's going on, and it does make a huge difference. Right, now what I was saying about tumble dryers is we have a petition that has gone into the government, and I'm starting to smell a rat. And we submitted this petition, most probably it has got to be coming up, and I need to check on this. Bear with me 1 second. It was submitted on the 18th of June after having the minimum requirement of signatures to go for approval to the government for it to become a full petition with the government. And this was submitted to the government on the 18th. It is now the 30th of this month, and the petition has not been approved. We've also sent some emails to politicians about this petition still not being approved. Now, later in this year, legislation is going to come in banning vented tumble dryers and condenser tumble dryers from being sold. But how is it we cannot get the petition active? Are they holding this petition back so we don't get any time to actually get this into the government because they want it passed anyway? This just smells like a big rat, and these politicians need to be held accountable. So mark my words, I brought this up now, and I will see, just bear with me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can bring up the petition so you can see. Just bear with me. I have to find this. Let me see if I can bring this up on the screen. Drag that across to here. No, it's not going to open, and that's because of I will how can I do this? I will actually bring it up on tomorrow's show for you and have a screenshot of it with the link, because as I said, I'm starting to smell a big rat. Having a petition in for 12 days and no approval, even when you've already got the minimum requirement in signatures, either the cogs of the government have ground to a halt, which wouldn't surprise me because, shall we say, they're in turmoil at the moment. But when you've got a petition like this going in and it's on time-sensitive basis, I'm just smelling a rat here. I'm sorry. So anyway, any more comments? Bosch Classixx, the drum bearing needed replacing. Is it worth £20 and worth spending money to fix it? Yes, it's quite simple. Bosch Classixx, absolutely brilliant machine, built far better than any machines out there today. The programming's good, the wash cycle's good. You need to make sure that you put fresh carbon brushes in the motor. I don't know what model this is, but you would be, and don't get, I'm doing myself out of money here. We sell the bearing kits, but the genuine bearing kit from Bosch may be £35, £40. The only tools you're going to need for the job: one, when you take the bearings out, if you've got a bearing distributor near to you, you will get top of the range bearings for about £5 each. The seal you might be able to obtain with the bearing supplier, because the seal, if it cleans up well, will have numbers on it. And these numbers on the seal basically give you the dimensions of everything. And you may pick up the whole bearing set for no more than about £12, £13 compared to a genuine set of bearings, which will be less quality because they may be using Chinese bearings instead of FAG bearings or whatever other make. And you would be able to get better precision bearings from an independent supplier than the genuine bearing set from the manufacturer. So you could save yourself a small fortune. And these Bosch Classixx are really great machines to work on. It was a great cabinet, great programming, and a sturdy machine. The only other thing that you would ever want to look at with them is if it was the early suspension legs, the felt in the actual suspension legs can wear, and it's worth possibly stripping them down, greasing up the actual suspension part where the one leg fits into the other leg, and possibly seeing if you can get some replacement padding, which is basically a felt pad that retains the grease. There are universal suspension legs available for all these machines, and as you've got the drum apart, because some of the suspension legs can't be taken off unless the drum's split, it's a good time to do that, is when you're actually rebuilding the machine. But I promise you, if you do a good job on that machine, it would outlive a new machine today. Thanks very much for the question, Craig. Oh, sorry, that's the next one. I didn't catch the name of the last person, sorry. What was it?
It was
Okay.
BMCA.
BMCA. Thank you very much for that question, BMCA. What do you think of Grundig? Well, Grundig predominantly are Beko manufactured machines. As I said, they do. I don't know with the Grundig models if they have a splittable drum. I believe most of them don't, but some of them, because it's meant to be the high-end brand for the Beko side. The Grundig machines are very nice machines. I believe they only come with a 12-month guarantee, unless the store is doing a promotion and they have an extended guarantee. I'm not up to date on everything because I don't go into the showrooms all the time and I don't look at these things all the time. I'm more here for the fixing of machines. But Beko do supply good workshop manuals, good technical information, and their spare parts predominantly are affordable outside of the motor, drum, and PCB. Those parts can be expensive, and especially the drum. But Beko, when I compare the Beko machines to, let's say, a Siemens or Bosch machine, the sealed drum 9 kilo on a Bosch machine can be in excess of £300. But the equivalent drum from Beko for the Grundig machine may be under £200. But really, they're all crooks because they're building sealed drums. So I'm going to say it as it comes out my mouth, and I'm not hiding behind anything. Anyone that is producing a sealed drum, well, it's disgusting. But hopefully we can get things changed in the long term. Thanks very much for the question, Craig.
Craig is also asking the Fibrecatcher washing machine. Does the Fibrecatcher part work? He's curious about the Fibrecatcher part.
I didn't read that bit because it's a bit blurry. I could only read Fibrecatcher. Not too sure what he's meaning there when he says Fibrecatcher. Has it got a filter trap? Is it a washer dryer that he's talking about? Because he does say washing machine, not washer dryer. So basically the water, I can't see how they're putting a Fibrecatcher. This could be just more ways manufacturers put fancy words on their bloody appliances when it's no different to any other machine. Your washing machine has a hole in the bottom of the drum that goes through to the pump, which has a filter. That filter they may be calling a Fibrecatcher, yeah? But at the end of the day, it's just a pump filter. Every machine nearly has that. This is just a new fancy word, in my opinion, for pump filter. Thanks very much for the question, Craig. Something Jones. I can't read the first bit, Burkeye. So She Jones?
Ste Jones.
Ste Jones. I have an eBac back in 2019, and it has a new drum and PCB and motor done by eBac. Yeah, well, they did stand up with regards their warranties. They put 7-year guarantee. You've got to remember, I don't think eBac has had enough time to be in the marketplace to build a reputation. Now, I have heard, but I still have not had proper clarification on this, that eBac has stopped manufacturing washing machines forever, or have they only stopped for a period of time? It's very hard to enter the washing machine market when you have conglomerates that are going out of their way either to buy all the small companies up, like ASCO company the other day got bought up. Sorry, not the other day, but a year ago, got bought up by the Chinese. They are using conglomerates to control the industry. In other words, you may have only 4 or 5 big conglomerates in this industry anymore, and the small companies that are independent are being bought up. And they're buying them up for their reputation, and then they go and produce rubbish under that brand because we bought Hotpoint, we bought Bosch in our generation because our parents owned these machines. And we remember that mum used to do the washing in the Hotpoint washing machine for 25 years and it never went wrong. So we go into the showrooms today assuming that it's a good brand, but actually it's a pile of shite. Yeah, it's like the car industry. If we look at the Ford Transit, every tradesman under the sun nearly had a Ford Transit or a Mercedes van. And now they are producing wet belts, which are causing no end of engine problems. And in the UK, which is one of the wettest countries, and we have a lot of salt on the road in the winters, they rust. Well, the steel's so thin, it just rusts beyond belief. And of course, that guarantees these manufacturers are building obsolescence in not only in the car industry, but also the white good industry as well. So let me read the whole question again, Stead Jones. I have an eBac in 2019. It was a new drum, PCB and motor done by eBac. However, the dispenser door is mouldy now. How easy it is? Very easy to remove. If you want to remove the whole drawer and then put the drawer into some, a mild bleach solution for 48 hours to soak and really clean it up and allow all the hard powder that's built up in there, you would need to remove the lid, disconnect the machine from the electricity supply first. 2 screws at the back will remove the lid. Then you will be able to undo 2 or 3 screws at the front in the soap drawer area. You may have to remove the panel, but I can't remember top of my head. If there's any screws behind the panel, then you would have access. If you've undone those 3 screws, which are in the soap drawer area, once you've pressed the button down and removed the tray, you would then, you may have enough access then, if the drawer is then loose, to undo any retention screw that's holding it to the side, and you may have enough space to undo the clip that holds the hose to the drum, the filling hose. It's called a soap drawer hose. Then all you would have to do is remove the 2 or 3 pipes going from the water valves to the soap drawer, and the whole soap drawer assembly will come off. Don't put the soap drawer fascia into bleach or any solution, because that might remove the text on the actual drawer itself. But the plastic itself is no problem at all putting into a bleach solution. If it's really moldy, you might need to put it in a heavy bleach solution. Give it 24 hours, and then just agitate it slightly with a toothbrush or old toothbrush or scrubbing brush. If it doesn't remove everything, then put it back into the bleach for a longer period of time and then re-agitate again. Once it's clean, you'll be able to reassemble the machine. But I do praise eBac for having a go at trying to produce a machine again in the UK. But I can imagine the old guy that owns the company, and I've watched a few of his videos, is a very proud northerner that likes to stamp made in Britain on stuff, and he builds fantastic dehumidifiers that I have seen in Portugal, Spain. I've even seen a few of those dehumidifiers in Africa. Thanks very much for the question, mate. Also, any idea where to get a replacement front? I can't read that word.
Front legs.
Mine's worn through the plastic. So, what machine was Stead Jones on about?
It's a follow-up.
Can you go through the notes?
The eBac.
The eBac. I Now don't hold me to this, Steph. I am 99% sure if you go to any washing machine that's down the local recycling centre, or anyone that's got an old washing machine, I believe it is the same metric threads, and I can't remember if it's M10 or large M14 maybe, threaded metric leg that screws in. I'm pretty sure any washing machine leg will fit on the bottom of this. They're all the same threads. Some manufacturers did make slightly smaller thread size, and it might be down to M8 or M8 or M10, and other manufacturers were using M14 or M16. Top of my head, I can't remember the thread, but there's only really two types of threads on the washing machine feet, and you could pinch any 2 feet off another washing machine that's heading for the scrap. Save yourself some money there, mate. Hello. If a 2019 Electrolux FLUB 41341 washing machine consumes 11 watt even when turned off, isn't that a bit much? I don't know. Firstly, is your meter calibrated? So unplug the machine completely to make sure the voltage goes down to 0. I think it all depends. Most washing machines would only draw a couple of watts with the off button off. 11 watts is really the wattage I would expect to see on my meter, and I can't find it, when a water valve is on, or possibly a door lock energized to keep the door shut. But 11 watts, I would say, is high. It should be going down no more. Even with the panel illuminated, it should only be drawing a couple of watts if it's doing nothing. But the first thing to check is your meter, to do some tests on other appliances in the house in the off position, just to see if your meter has got a problem. I can't really... I think 11 watts is something like a transformer or something pulling power. That's a little high, in my opinion. I can't be, unless I've got the machine in front of me, I can't, do appreciate. I can only advise, and that's why I'm saying check the meter. Idris, what's that word, Burke? I can't read it. You have to read this one to me, mate. It's gone very blurred.
All right, my aunt had an Indesit Omega from 1993. The quick wash was used to last around 1 hour 15 minutes with a number of 5 rinses. It probably used around 90 liters of water wash.
Yeah, that's about right. Yes, I'm not disputing that the modern machines today some machines are only using, let's say, 50 liters of water compared to a machine that was made in 93 using 90 liters of water. But if we where water efficiency is really good for the planet is when we have machines like this machine, if it was being used in a very hot country like Portugal or African countries, where there is a critical shortage of water, meaning that the reservoirs are running low and they're not able to supply towns with enough water for daily usage. But when we live in Northern Europe, this water, it's raining nearly every day. Yes, if you consider 1 million machines using 40 to 50 liters of water more than the older machines, we have to look at this and say, yes, the water efficiency is better. But if the machines are only lasting 5 years, where is the benefit? This is all, washing. every washing machine really needs to be put on a boil wash once a month or so. Yeah, depending on how many times you use the machine every week. But if you put the machine on a boil wash, it is like having a cup of coffee with 3 sugars in and you don't stir it and you drink the coffee. At the bottom of the glass, you will find sugar. Now, if you heat it and stir it, then this sugar dissolves into the water. So when the machine empties, it is able to get rid of that sludge. But we're washing on much colder temperatures, and they are being environmental with regards using less water, less everything, less electricity. So you really want to be doing a boil wash at least once a month just to remove the sludge that's in the machine. And some people swear by putting a couple of capsules of vinegar into the machine to help clean it. Other people use dishwasher tablets to dissolve, because dishwasher tablet really does dissolve crud much better than laundry powder. But by having a hot wash, you are trying to clean the inside of the machine. And you'll see a lot of machines in the marketplace now that have drum clean cycles. All that the drum clean cycle is it fills the machine to the maximum level it's able to fill the machine, and it heats the water to a high temperature and then churns the water around, trying to dissolve all the grime that's built up in the machine. And I always tell people, go to your garage, go to your cleaning cupboards, get all the cleaning rags that you don't clean that often, chuck them in the machine, because you're not going to do any damage to them when you do a boil wash, and just let it do a cycle. Not only to clean those rags, the drum moving and agitating is going to help slush that water around the machine and cleaning everything. And also, good advice is, after every cycle, just have a small bit of cloth that you wipe the door seal down, especially in the UK, because our temperatures are much lower than Europe, and moisture and stays inside the machine. And this is where bacteria can build up and mold take hold. Meaning, we had a gentleman with the eBac machine, which was 7 or 8 years old, and he started to get mold in the soap drawer area. And this is the reason why, is people don't wipe down their machines after each cycle, and the water does not get a chance to evaporate. So mold can take place. I've done a very good video on removing mold, and if you go to the end of that video and just see what comes out of the drum, you'll understand why you should do it. Everyone should have a nose at that video. Not to watch the whole video, you don't need to unless you've got mouldy door seal. But at the end of the video, there's a very nice sequence where we look at the state of the water that came out of the machine that had done previous washes. And you just would not believe what came out with a few dishwasher tablets. Anyway, that's another video. Any other questions? No, I don't believe. Literally, we read the legislation, and that was going into play. They were trying to force everyone to have heat pump dryers, and they were basically wanting to phase out vented and condenser tumble dryers. And this was on many a forum. So I don't think it was fake, mate.
Paul,
Yeah.
right now I'm gonna display a donation for you. We have a donation from Rugai.
Well, thank you very much. Super Chats ARS.
Argentine peso.
I have no idea how much that is, but it's not the point of the money. I don't actually need. It's nice having them. It does help support Burkeye, who works for the company. It does help the cost of running the company. I do this because I'm here to help, and I like helping. I travel. I stay in this industry, although I don't need to be working. I do this because it's a passion, and I'm really annoyed with the way the industry has gone, and I will continue doing this till the end of my days. But I really do appreciate the donation. Thank you very much. Love your video. It'll buy a couple of beers as well. Love your videos. No washer has my wash my clothes better than an Ariston. I miss the machine badly. My washing machine was flooded and the motor died in Uruguay. God, we're getting around the world. The best I could come up with was the LG. I applaud you for buying the LG. I have, these are, I've, we don't know how long we've got on this planet, but I spoke to some German people the other day, or going back a week ago, and they took their camper and paid £3,000 to have it shipped to Argentina. And they jumped on a plane and flew over there, and they spent 18 months touring South America in their German camper van. And I must admit, I am seriously tempted. I have seen predominantly all of Europe now. I have always wanted to drive through America. The bit in the middle between America and South America, I would like to miss out, because there's a lot of problems in that area. But I would love to see places like Uruguay, Argentina, Patagonia, because they speak Welsh, although I don't speak Welsh. It's where a lot of Welsh miners went years ago after leaving Cornwall, and the tin mine shut there. But that would be a hell of a trip. We'll see where we are in a year or so. I've still got a lot of stuff to do over here, getting everyone that's supporting the Right to Repair Act. I also want to create some sort of museum for old British white goods when it comes to cookers, tumble dryers, washing machines, because a lot of people have offered to donate machines which they've got in their storage cupboard. And even here today where I am, I'm in Kilrush in Southern Ireland at the moment. So I said Southern Ireland, slap on the face. My apologies to all the Irish. The Republic of Ireland. And I'm traveling up to the very top and then crossing over to Scotland. I have a few partners over here which I have to help set up, and then I'm going down through the UK. I'll be going to Grimsby, I'll be going to the Wales, and also Colchester, Birmingham, visiting other partners over there and assisting them getting set up, not only making money out of their own scrap, which is machines that would normally go to the scrap, and good parts would get crushed for just the precious coppers, aluminiums and metals that are in there. These people are really trying to help make money for themselves by selling parts at an affordable price to help the general public prolong their life of the machine. And by doing this, we might be able to slow up the way we're consuming the world's resources, because consumption is a disease. We seem to, the cogs of industry must turn to the level that we have at the moment, because it's what's bred into us. I can understand things like computers, telephones being replaced because technology evolves. Like, if you own an iPhone 15, an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 5, I can understand wanting to replace it with an iPhone 15, which is the one I have. But there's no point in actually having a new one every year. I mean, it's ludicrous. When it comes to computers, you imagine working on your computer that you had 15 years ago. It was, you had to wait for the screen to load. You had to wait for the software to load. You would spend hours waiting for the processor to edit videos, for example. Technology does evolve, and that is a good side of, replacing stuff. But the washing machine and the cooker has not really changed in design in the last 40 to 50 years. Most of the stuff they've added to washing machines, refrigeration, tumble dryers, dishwashers, etc., has not changed. They're just whitewashing it and greenwashing it, sorry. They're greenwashing machines to say they're eco-friendly, they do this, X, Y, and Z, they got Bluetooth, they got Wi-Fi. It's not needed. The machine's capabilities is still the same today. Now, cooking, for example, they invented the microwave. Now, that was a great thing to actually, it wasn't something to replace the oven, but it was something that was more beneficial when it came to cooking. And until we put our clothes in a box, press a button, and suddenly they are washed, dried, and hanged on ironing pegs or coat hangers, ready to go in the closet, it hasn't changed. Why are we being forced into having machines that only last 4 or 5 years? Because manufacturers want us to consume and consume and consume. Anyway, that's the end of that rant. Mr. Washer Dude, now my washing machine center near me that I work at won't let take any of the washing machines that are getting so. Sorry, can you read that? It's a bit blurry, mate. Now my recycling center near me,
That I
and then I
work
can't
at
read that.
that I work at won't let take any of the washing machines that are getting scrapped.
Won't. So the center that you've got for recycling, they're not even accepting white goods anymore. Is this just washing machines, or are they not accepting fridge freezers, tumble dryers? You know, most of the larger recycling centers will take large items like this, because otherwise we'll end up fly tipping everywhere. I mean, you only have to drive through UK and Wales to see the fly tipping of mattresses being chucked over farmers' hedges, people dumping rubbish in lay-bys. It's blooming disgusting. And this is because, and it's a very good comparison when I think of it, because Ireland is a lot. I haven't seen any fly tipping anywhere. I haven't seen that many rubbish bins, but I think rubbish is something that has been addressed in Ireland, and they've got the local people. I mean, everywhere is spotless. Even when I go up these country lanes, if I went up the same country lanes in Wales, I would be seeing bin bags piled over hedges, mattresses chucked everywhere, old furniture, tires, fridges, freezers, washing machines. I just do not understand how Britain has got so bad, but yet Ireland has become brilliant. I take my hat off to the Irish. They really have made this country beautiful, and everywhere I go, there's hardly any litter. Anyway, thanks for that. Look, we're going to have to cut this short because I've got a meeting at 7 o'clock and we've been going an hour and a half. And Berkay, for all of you that don't know, he lives in Turkey and he's 3 hours ahead, Berkay?
2.
2 hours ahead. So for Berkay, it's 9:30 at night and no, 8:30 at night. And I don't, I shouldn't be asking him to do this, but he's willing to. So really, the pat on the back goes to him for working so late, although I do it on a daily basis. It's a two-man show to run something like this properly, because I haven't got the expertise to run the technical side for it. I'm slowly learning, but remember, this is a 60-year-old dyslexic, non-techo head. I know how to fix washing machines, but not drive computers to the level that other people drive them. So I do appreciate Berkay's time for that. Sorry, I can't read that. Can you bring it up?
Yep, this is the same guy from Uruguay and one more super chat.
All right.
Would love
Another super chat. Well, thank you.
Do you want me to read it to you?
Yeah, I can't read it, mate. Sorry, it's gone very blurry.
Would love a Beko washer that spins like 800 RPM. if you want to bring one as a gift for me. Don't worry, the amount is around 6 to 8 pence.
Wait a second. This is the guy from Uruguay.
Yep.
I will bear that in mind when I come over, but if I came over to South America, I'm not bringing the washing machine. I am definitely bringing the motorbike, because you have some mountain ranges over there which would seriously interest me. I've ridden the motorbike in Morocco up to one of the top of the mountains, which was 4,100. I've even taken this van close to 3,500 meters. And trust me, on some days, and Burkeye was with me and he'll back me up, on some occasions, we looked at each other while we were driving saying, what the hell are we doing in this road or on this road in this van? Have a look at the 360 video for Dade's Gorge. Now, remember, it's a 360 video. So if you load it up on your mobile phone, if you turn round or look up and look down, it's actually like looking through your eyes. And when you see the state of that road, yeah, you'll fully understand what I'm on about. And there's some other videos showing some of the trips we did over the N7, and I've still got a couple of long videos on my file system that I need to finish one day, because they were epic roads. Yes, it took the toll on this van, but at the end of the day, you only ever get to see a place like that once, and I would love to see South America.
And for the record,
And you play rugby, which is more important.
for the record, I don't need
Yeah.
visa for South America. Just keep in mind.
Okay, now we're getting prods from Turkey saying, yeah, that sounds like an ace trip. So, yeah, possibilities. The problem is, as an old guy said to me many years ago, you get 70 summers, 70 winters, 70 springs, and 70 autumns. Make the effing most of them, which is very, very true words. And when you think that I'm in my last 10 years of that, I need to pack in as much as I can while I have the physical capability, the health, and everything else, because you never know what's round the corner. Thank you again. Anyway, I can't read the name, mate. I can see it's 1988, but I can't read the name.
AAGC.
AAGC, thank you very much for supporting the channel. It is much appreciated, mate. Any others before we wrap this up? Because I have to go shortly.
Oh, no, mate. We have comments,
Nope.
but we need to keep up.
Yeah, we'll have to deal with the other questions tomorrow, Burkeye. The reason being is I have somewhere to be at 7 o'clock. I want to quickly go for a shower because I haven't had one today, and I have some tokens. This place gives you 2 showers per night of staying here. So I really want to go and use the shower, have a shower, and Tom's picking me up at approximately 8 o'clock this evening. I meant to go out with him at 7 o'clock, but I didn't realize I had a meeting I had to attend. So I'll be spending most of the day with Tom, if he'll put up with me tomorrow, and having a look through his cellar chest, shall we call it, of antiques. Maybe there's a duplicate of me in the corner. Anyway, thanks for all your time. Take care all. See you tomorrow afternoon, 5 o'clock.
Before
Make
you go,
sure you... Yeah.
before you go, I need to step in. We have a question from Planet Earth and that one Monica. We'll be answering those questions tomorrow's show. All right.
No, let's deal with them now. Get them out of the way, because I really prefer, but no other questions after this point. I have to go. I can give them 5 minutes, so let me just quickly do these. Planet Earth Being. Great name, and I think you're someone that's on my side of the fence when it comes to prolonging machines. Hiya, any advice for the Hotpoint 7 kilo NSW M743U making grinding noises when attempting to spin and drain if it's less than 5 years old? I wish I could give you good news. First thing you want to do, let's eliminate one fault at a time. Disconnect the machine from the electricity supply. First thing you want to do is put your hand in the drum and spin the drum by hand. If you are ending up with a noise, it could be the bearings or spider, but because the belt is still attached to the machine, it's a possibility the grinding noise could be coming from the motor. So if you want to eliminate that, just take the back off the machine. There's a plate that holds at the back of the machine, which then will expose the belt that goes onto the motor. Quickly whip the belt off, go back round the front of the machine, give it a spin again. If the noise is eliminated, then it could be coming from the motor. Next thing to do is, if you look inside the drum, straight inside the drum, and you will see the stainless steel of the drum, or it's not stainless anymore, it's coated metal. But if you look at the back of the drum, you will see like 3 points which the spider is attached at the back. Go round to the bottom, so each of those points, one by one, line up at the bottom. Put your fingers in on the outer drum and try and see if there's any movement between the inner drum and outer drum. It could be because you have a broken spider, but some spiders will not make any noise whatsoever until they get to 1200 RPM or 1000 RPM. And the only way of really testing that is have no clothes in the machine, put it through a fast spin cycle. If it doesn't make any noise, right, then it could be because the clothing, when added to the machine, is causing the fracture on the spider to open up. If you've got noise present all the time when you spin the drum, it could be the bearings. But any 3 of these faults, whether it's the bearings, whether it's the spider, whether it's the motor, is going to make it a very expensive repair. If it's the motor, I can promise you one of our partners is going to be listing or has listed a motor for this machine. If you go to Hotpoint's website, and I'm going to tell you some quick other hacks, and this has taken me longer than I should, try and find the genuine part numbers for the drum and also for the spider. Not for the spider, for the motor. If you can go to Hotpoint's website, put your model number in and get the part numbers. Also search eBay, Facebook, Gumtree, and our website. More importantly, search our website and then the other 3, because you may find someone either disposing of a machine because it has a fault with the electrics or circuit board, or some engineer who's out on the road on a daily basis has surplus stock to his van, and he may be selling those parts. It is still worth having a look, but I think it's going to be one of the 3 faults: bearings, spider, or motor. Possibility, no, it's not going to be a loose concrete block, because, well, it could be a loose concrete block when it's spinning that's making the noise, but it wouldn't be the type of noise that you call grinding noise. It would be more like something loose on the machine. So next one. Thank you, Planet Earth. Hope I helped. I have a Bosch, I can't read that word, hydro something.
Hydro sensor.
Hydro sensor, WFP 3300. What do you think of the old Bosch WF? I'd have to look it up. I can't, people think I'm all that's in my head is model numbers, part numbers, and procedures for fixing the machines. If you've got a technical question like this, please send it in prior to the show so I can do my research by bringing up the Bosch data on this machine. It depends on how old the machine is. I have always liked Bosch until 2010. After 2010, they have declined, and they have declined not because of the accessibility, not because of the performance of the machine. They're great washing machines, because Bosch has got greedy and started ripping the general public off with all their brands because they are sealing drums, building obsolescence in either via the drum or the pricing structure on the major components like drum, washing machine motor, or the washing machine program. And as I say to everyone, make sure whenever buying a machine, and Bosch now are putting a 5-year guarantee on their machines on most shops, never buy a machine that doesn't have a 5-year guarantee. Right, last things last before I go. If you have any long questions, please feel free to use the website to send the long question in, making sure you give me the full model number, brand of the machine, and a detailed description of the fault. I won't answer people who just send in, like I've had 2 over the last 2 days. My washing machine is not working. Well, how the hell am I meant to answer that? Yeah, you've got to give me a full description. And really, use your mobile phone. Just turn it to the front camera, record, upload it to your own Google account, which is connected to YouTube, and then send me the link and have a conversation. I'll be happy to look at these videos and assist you in repairing your machines. Right, I really have to go. Berkay, thank you very much for hosting it. Much appreciated. And I will see everyone tomorrow, 5 o'clock. Take care all. Have a great day.